And what's up, everybody? It's me, Jamie, here with another Codex comic character of the week. And with me, as always, we have Sal starting off.
Hey guys, how you doing? You can find me at Sal's Comic Corner on YouTube and also the Slab Guy 77 on Instagram.
We have Dan.
Hey, you can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. Just search hashtag Dan Kelly Art, and got this piece that I just started that I will be posting sometime next week.
Awesome.
We also have the fashion relay, but always relevant Kevin.
Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Kevin. I created a group over on Facebook called Comic Character of the Day, where we go over a different character, a different cover, a different topic. We show questions, have people join and share art, anything relevant, news, comedy, anything that is comic book related was more than welcome on that group. We'd love to have you come and check it out and see if you like it.
All right.
Thank
And
you.
if you have not done it yet, guys, go check out Heroes Corner Comics. They have everything from slabs, back issues, current issues, variants, and more. You can even do your pulls and subscriptions there, so I highly recommend it. And if you use the word codex at checkout, you will save yourself 20% store wide. And lastly, I'm going to play it because you guys always want to hear it. Go check out the codexstation.com, your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, find us on all of our socials because we're on everything. And so much more coming for you guys. It's not even funny. But let's get into this great episode of Comic Character of the Week. And this week we have, because the movie's coming out, Black Panther.
Yes.
My man.
Awesome.
Hey, Dan, could you let us know all about the Black Panther?
I was
Yeah,
just getting
Dan.
ready to. The Black Panther first appearance was Fantastic Four issue 52, all the way back in July of 1966. He's created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, though each of them claimed that they created him themselves or had the idea for it. He was not the first black superhero, but he was the first black superhero in mainstream comics. He was the first superhero in mainstream comics of African descent. He is the king and protector of the African nation of Wakanda. Is a mantle that's handed down through the generations. Gains his powers from eating the heart-shaped herb that is that only helps people from his bloodline. He has superhumanly acute senses, enhanced strength, speed, agility, stamina, durability, healing, reflexes, and he's got a costume made out of vibranium, which is the ore that is harvested in Wakanda that they're pretty much their whole country and economy was based on. They are also the most technologically advanced society in the world.
All right. So, guys,
Yep.
let's dive into Black Panther a little bit more. And let's talk about some of the scenarios that we think that T'Challa fits best into. Kevin, start us off.
All right. You know, I gotta say, I think Black Panther T'Challa is one of the more deep, interesting characters out there. There's so many more levels to Black Panther than I think there is to most superheroes. But I think the way he works best is when they get into him and the politics of Wakanda. There's a precarious when they explore the precarious balance between what is good for his people and what is good for the world, and his moral dilemma of like, yes, I know that I have a moral obligation to help everybody, but my people take precedence. So when they get into the minutia of all of that, I think that's really one of the coolest things. And when they explore the kingdom of Wakanda, there's so much rich backdrop to that country and everything about it. I think when they started getting into like him not in Wakanda, it takes a little bit away from the character. Still an amazing character, but just I think works best while within Wakanda. And the fact that one of the things that Dan did not mention is it's established that T'Challa is one of the most intelligent people in the Marvel universe. And when they start to have him outsmarting everybody and having everybody underestimate him, I love that. I think that's one of the funnest, most interesting aspects of the character. And when they kind of get into the whole gray area, like, like usually a lot of superheroes, like good and evil, black and white. Black Panther, I think, has a whole lot of more gray in his to his morality than most superheroes do, and I think that's really one of the more interesting, fascinating aspects and parts of that character. So
All right. That great way to start it off. Sal, thoughts?
Well, I have to echo a lot what Kevin said. When they're following the politics of Wakanda and his moral code to his people, that works exceptionally well. But I also like the fact, and I'm going to disagree with you, Kevin, on this point, when he does reach out to help out the world, and he goes into a almost different ethical situation of how much he's going to help the outside world.
Right.
So we're talking about. To elaborate a little bit more on Dan's introduction, this is a civilization that closed itself off from the world, period, and had grown to a point to where they've got the flying cars, they got advanced medical technology, they have insane economy. It's so far advanced than the rest of the world. So
one of the richest nations in the Marvel universe,
right? And he's supposed to be richer than everybody in the universe, and also the DC universe as well, I think.
They broke that down for us. Thank you, comicbook.com.
Yep. Right. So I think that does work well for him in those situations. And so he's got two boundaries of ethical situation: what's best for his country, and then what's best for the outside world to help.
Right.
So Dan, what do you got for us?
I think he's best used when he's using a mix of his not just his physical power, but his intellect, the technology he has. Also, when they show how good of a tactician he is and how far advanced he has, he has plans. Like just his first appearance in Fantastic Four. They always say this stuff about Batman, like, oh, Batman could beat anybody if he has enough time to plan. Like, that's exactly what Black Panther did in his first appearance when he invites the Fantastic Four to Wakanda, and he had like everything already planned out on how he was going to beat all of them, and it was through, not just through his physical prowess, but through his intelligence, his technology, his his thinking ahead, and when you read his books. His solo books more than when he appears in crossovers and team books, the planning ahead stuff really becomes more evident. There was a line in in one of the books when they did Secret Invasion, when all these Skrulls, when they were all attacking, and he has to fight this big Super Skrull, and that's got like all these different powers from all these different heroes, and he said, I'm going to beat you. I've spent my entire life training just for this moment, just to fight you. And Black Panther looks at him and says, then you've already lost, because I've spent my entire life preparing to train for the unknown, or training for the unknown. And like, that's exactly what it is. Like, you can prepare for him, but he's prepared for everything else.
Right.
And I also like too, when they show that he can be, kind of alluding to what Kevin said, he can be a lot more cold-hearted than a lot of these other characters. Like when they had the whole Avengers versus X-Men thing, and he's on one side and Storm's on the other, and he's just like, all right, well, this marriage isn't going to last. And she comes to Wakanda to help, and he goes, you're not welcome here anymore. We're not married anymore. I had the high priest of the Panther clan annul the marriage. And she goes, the high priest of the Panther clan, but that's you. And he goes, you can go now. Is like that's just ice cold.
Yeah.
You're not, that's not something that you're going to see. I mean, like, even someone like Iron Man, that's thought to be kind of cold at times. Like, that's not something you're even going to see him do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oof.
Totally. Jamie, how about you?
So there's two parts where I think he works best in, and that is him just leading Wakanda. And I say that in the standpoint of you look at someone on the opposite side, like a Victor Von Doom running Latveria, it's like that's where they're destined to be. You shouldn't drag them out of that realm because that's where they
Right.
fit perfect. That's where that puzzle piece fits in. I think that him running that his own country and him branching out to help when necessary is his bread and butter. I also think
Right.
what I'm going to agree with Dan here is they need to utilize him for his intelligence because a lot of the times now, reading the comics, looking at everything, even in media, with the MCU, they don't really show that side of them, but they have like a Shuri or somebody else. It's like, hey, we made this tech from a concept that you came up with. Like, no, it was his idea. Like, let him be that person. You don't need X, Y, and Z to be like, well, we came up with this, but you kind of helped, but we did all the work. Like, no, that's not how it goes. Like, you can't take credit. It's like you can copy, but don't show the work. Like, no, to me, he has to sit in those two realms or the character just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But with that being said, with those scenarios, there's also some badass moments that have happened throughout the whole time of the Black Panther lore. So, Sal, you want to kick that off for us?
Sure. I've got 3 badass moments that I read into. The one time he stopped Iron Man's heart. So this was one of those alternate versions of Iron Man. Well, I guess a different universe or a time-traveling type of Iron Man who was evil. So he actually overwhelms Iron Man's functions in his suit. And not by disabling it, but he literally stops the heart of Tony Stark, which then shuts down the whole suit as well. So that kind of caters to or facets the intelligence part of it, that he knew how to do and what to do it. There's another time where he was fighting Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom had like stolen much of the vibranium out of Wakanda, and of course Black Panther confronts Doom on this one-on-one epic battle type situation, and T'Challa just then uses Doom's armor to do a signal boost, which then renders all of the vibranium inert, basically shorting of Doom of his prize. So that was a pretty badass moment. And then, of course, the time, I guess this was the first appearance of him, embarrasses the Fantastic Four, much like Spider-Man did when he first came on the scene.
I see a trend.
Yeah, he sent I guess it was a flying car or a vehicle to the Fantastic Four to say, "Hey, come out to Wakanda. Let's talk," type of thing. And then, but they show up and he takes them out one at a time just to counteract, just to show that he can, take them down if need be. And then he's just like, it was just a test of your skills, that type of situation. But welcome to Wakanda, So those are my 3 badass moments.
Welcome.
It was funny. I was going to say what's funny about that first appearance too is it definitely shows the time it was made. Is when he invites them, after he makes up with him and he invites them to his private quarters and they're like seeing all of his super advanced technology and they go, look, he's got a stereo with with an audio tape recorder. and then he goes in there and he just pulls out a cigarette from a pack and lights up and is just standing there casually holding this cigarette while he's talking to the Fantastic Four, and you're like, wow, this is definitely the 60s.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, you're 3.
Freaking Sal had to go and
yes,
and take
good
shit, but,
good.
All right. So number 3, T'Challa goes up against the Immortal Hulk and cuts off his arm with the arm. Like, this particular iteration of the Incredible Hulk has been known to crack Thor's skull and give him a freaking concussion. Like, that's how powerful this Hulk is. Like, he cracked Thor's skull. And T'Challa was like, okay, now goes up against him. He's handing the entire the entire Avengers their high knees. And the only one that's able to stand up to a rampaging Hulk is T'Challa. That's says so much about the character. And number 2, once again, the introduction of him. He invites the Fantastic Four to Wakanda. It's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Separates them, hunts them down, and takes them out one by one, just to prove that he can, but also I'm testing your abilities and capabilities. Good to know I can take you out in case I need to. But yeah, now that I've done that to show you, now you're like that's intimidating as hell. Like I don't even. And number one, this is a different Black Panther versus Doctor Doom. We're talking Secret Wars #9 when God Doom is just like one. I can control and destroy everything. I have the powers of a god. I can make everything contour to the contours of my will. So T'Challa's like, well, shoot, that is kind of next level, huh? Well, let me get my hands on an infinity gauntlet and stand up to you. Now, this thing can drive most people insane or kill them. I got this going on. My pure willpower makes it so that, like, I'm unable to freaking meet you face to face here without flinching. That's next level right there. That's intimidating as hell. I mean, that's impressive.
All right, and Dan.
For the first time, I think I've got like 3 completely different ones than you guys.
Oh my gosh!
You're pulling it, Jamie. The hell?
Jamie.
I kind of already mentioned the one is in it was in Black Panther issue volume 4, number 40. It was during the Secret Invasion when the Skrulls came down and were invading Wakanda, and they thought, oh, we're just going to take this little country out, and it's just going to be easy, and then we'll be done. Yeah. And it was just this knockdown, drag-out fight. And like I said, when he stands up to the Super Skrull who says, I've trained my whole life to beat you, and he just looks him dead in the eye and goes, then you've already lost because I've spent my entire life training for the unknown, and just proceeds to beat the brakes off of him. And has like the Wakandans just fighting all these Skrulls, even though they're they have all these different Super Skrulls, and the Wakandans are outmatched. And then just when it looks like they've lost and the Black Panther and Storm are captured, then it turns out, oh, they weren't captured. They already knew what was going on and had like used his technology to make these couple Skrulls that they had captured, make them look like Black Panther and Storm. So they're actually torturing them. And then they had disguised him and Storm had disguised themselves as Skrulls, and then revealed themselves, beat the commander of the mission, and just, and it was like such a great twist, but it also fit in with it too, that he's just got everything planned for it.
Yeah, and that sounds like Black Panther.
Yeah, and even when the Skrulls were taken off guard when they flew into Wakanda, they went, what's that there? And it was all these Skrull heads that were their sleeper agents that were on pikes, like outside of like the royal palace, and they were like, oh, what are we gonna do now?
some Vlad Tepes type level stuff right there.
The next one I got is when it was from Black Panther Volume 3, when Mephisto showed up, and it looks like he's gonna do his type of stuff, and Black Panther walks into the room and literally just walks up to him and just knocks him out with one punch. And then when he gets him up, knocks him out with one punch, rips his heart out. And then it has this whole issue dealing with Mephisto trying to do all this stuff and get him to sell him his soul and all this. And Black Panther just completely turns the tables on him. And it's like, oh, you want to have my soul, but you have to take mine, like all of my ancestors, and they all overwhelm him. And he's like, all right, I give. That's it. Like, just completely beat the devil at his own game.
That's awesome.
And then my top one is a storyline from his book when he was in Jungle Action, where it was just Black Panther fights the Klan, and Black Panther beats up the Klan. And I mean,
that's classic. That's a good one.
Right.
I mean, he's beating up the Klan. That's
just
fantastic.
All right, absolutely,
right there.
Seriously.
All right, Jamie, what do you got for us?
Jamie, what do you
Uh,
got?
All right, so I have one that matches you guys,
Oh,
Ooh.
and that's actually Kevin. And it was the time he smacked Doom around with the gauntlet,
Yeah.
like
Right.
just
That's a good one.
bad Doom. My second one is so usually for anyone that out there is listening or watching this right now, everyone has their main villain. Everyone's got that one go-to from the Superman's having Lex Luthor to Captain America, Red Skull. They're anonymous with one another. Like they just go
Arch enemy.
together. Every volume of every series he's had, there's been fights with Killmonger. Even when he tried to turn good. And every time there's a fight between those two, it is an epic clash brawl. So that would be my number 2 is every fight iteration with Killmonger. Even in the MCU. I mean, just amazing. And lastly, the time he took over for Daredevil.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
When,
a good
when,
one.
when he lost all of his powers and Matt Murdock basically had to not be Daredevil because he gave up his identity, he took over the helm. But in that time, it was a badass moment because of the fact that he learned who he was again without the powers, behind the mask again. So those would be my top 3.
That
Now,
one narrowly missed my list.
yeah,
Mhm.
no, it's one of my favorites. So
Yeah.
we talk about these moments that are badass. There's also those moments where maybe they're not the greatest. And Kevin, where do you see that?
All right. Well, I have a couple of things here for that. I have to admit, I don't like him in the Avengers because I feel like it's a waste of that character. He is such a the minutia, the details, the specifics. So much going on with Black Panther. When they put him in a book that's an ensemble, it really doesn't give him an opportunity to shine as brightly as he should, as much potential as he has. I mean, I get that they're trying to include diversity, but he's far too nuanced a character to water down in an ensemble group. Although it has been, and this is one of the things that I love, although it has been established that he joined the Avengers in order to keep his eye on them. I'm like,
spy on him, yeah.
Right. I'm like, that right there is very Black Panther. I mean, that explanation tracks. It fits a lot more better with the character. And any setting other than Wakanda. He's still a great character, but the backdrop just isn't as lush and as interesting as Wakanda. I think the two, for me at least, Wakanda and Black Panther are synonymous, and anything without him in Wakanda, I think, isn't doing justice to the character.
Okay.
Just
Dan?
my opinion.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the same lines. Like, I don't dislike him being part of the Avengers. I almost see him being part of the Avengers kind of like Aquaman being part of the Justice League, as in, where, all right, they're like a global, even though they're based in New York, they're really like a global kind of peacekeeping team, come out and fight the biggest things, and you would want the best. And he is one of the best with his, not just with his powers, but with his intelligence and his planning and his technology. So he should be a part of it. But I agree that I don't like that he kind of gets watered down when he does that stuff. When he's in his own book, they definitely talk about his powers and his intelligence, but how good he is at planning for things, sometimes years in advance. And, when he's in some of these Avengers stories, as great as they are, he is just another superhero. And they'll say, King of Wakanda, whatever, but they don't really fully use his intelligence, his planning in it. It's just kind of the physical powers of him. And that really, really shortchanges the character.
I'm sorry. I know that, Sal, you're next, but one of the things that I like, so Captain America is the leader of the Avengers. He's like the Avenger, the first Avenger. But realistically, I think Black Panther would be a better, I don't know, leader, but yes, He has contingency plans for his contingency plans, whereas Captain America is great, but he's kind of more fly by the seat of his pants type of thing. I think it doesn't. It doesn't do T'Challa justice being in a group where he's playing second fiddle to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have, they kind of go with Cap as the leader, the same way they go with Superman, where people follow him in DC. Like, yeah, Black Panther might be smarter, Batman might be smarter, that, but like they don't have the charisma and the ability to inspire and lead people the way they are. But they should definitely, and I think they have in the current Avengers series, though I haven't read it as much. I was reading it when it started. I think they've kind of had Black Panther come more to the forefront with his, with his intelligence being part of it, and not just this guy's, like Daredevil in a black suit instead of a red suit.
Right. Yeah, totally.
All right, so
well, you guys have covered every basic point that I was going to bring up. I cannot add anything to what you guys just said. So literally, that is it. That was it. My whole thing in a nutshell. He's great. It's great that he's part of the Avengers, but I don't feel like they use him as they should. Period.
Yeah, totally agree.
So,
yeah.
Jamie, I'm going to guess you have something different for us.
Yes and no. So I do agree with you guys on the fact of using him as a leader in a group does not do him justice as it should.
Right.
I feel as though like he's too watered down. Like he has these moments where he's like, this is the most badass character we've seen. And then it's like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. Like he was literally just fighting with the Phoenix Force, and now he's gone for 5 to 10 issues. Why?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But one of the things that I think where they kind of suck at is when his moral compass doesn't have a point. And he's always, okay, I'm the leader of Wakanda. I got to worry about a nation. I got, the weight of a country on my shoulders.
Right.
When they strip that away, he's just another hero. Like, in a there's nothing significant about him at that point then where he's different from X, Y, or Z. It's just follow suit here. It's basically like stamp and print. Like, this is the character. He can fight crime. He's super strong, and he looks like a cat. So, and that's it. Without that little moral, hey, I got all this going on. I got to remember this. Mm-hmm. There's no meaning for the character, and a lot of the times that's where they lack in, telling a story with them. And I think that's where he kind of isn't the greatest in that essence.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
But as always, with that criticism, when we get into the comics, there's always these cool covers that we see and most iconic covers that we see. Now, if you guys want any of them, I'm going to give you guys a chance right after this episode because I don't want you to do it right now while you're watching or listening. Go check out Heroes Corner Comics. They have everything there for you from slabs, back issues, current. You guys can basically make a pull list for yourselves there and do it. And if you use codex, CODEX, at checkout, you get 20% off store wide. So go over there, go do that. Go make some friends there too. Definitely go check that out. But let's get into some covers, shall we? And I will have Sal kick us off.
All right. Hit it. There we go. So these are the covers I like the most. With Black Panther number 27, War. This is
there it is.
Okay. All right. All right. Very good. Very I want to say prestigious or very leadership quality, or you could just think that this character leads something huge, in this case his nation. So this cover just kind of stands out to me. It gives me the presence of a king. That's the terminology I was looking for. So the Black Panther number 21, him fighting Namor. This is just a classic fight scene, I believe. This is good. They're always at odds with each other. So the fight scene between these two is just very iconic for Black Panther. And then of course the last one, Black Panther number 35 or 36. with him at Storm at his side. I just love that. That's a great cover for me.
It is.
So
All right, now let's
Very
get
cool.
into Dan's.
Well, I have got 3 completely different ones.
all right.
I've got Jungle Action number 23. That was the Black Panther's first solo book. It's a cover by John Byrne, who never really drew Black Panther, except maybe in like those crossovers kind of here and there. But it's just a good kind of classic comic cover, focuses on him, and I've always thought that Black Panther had one of the coolest costumes in comics, even though it's extremely basic, but it's one of those ones that's awesome because of just kind of how plain and basic it is. And he's just crouched there, just ready to strike. I also got the Marvel Fanfare number 60. Again, it's just, it shows, the kind of classic simplicity of the costume, but it's also got some of the stuff there that really drives home, that this is an African character. And thought it really stand out well. And then the cover to Black Panther number 1, a great Alex Ross cover, which just looks fantastic because it's got him in the forefront, but then, it's got all this stuff that's significant to him, that he has to kind of watch the earth as a whole, but then he's also got the Avengers there, and he's got Storm, and he's got the people from Wakanda, and it's got like the big Panther god in the background, and it's got the technology there, and it's just kind of really good about, this cover, kind of just touches on a lot of the major stuff that's that's involved with the character.
Definitely.
That number 1 I almost made my list. That wrap cover, that was almost on my list. It is amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's a beautiful cover to look at. And
It is.
I'm sure there's a poster of it that you could get. I'd be shocked if there wasn't, because it's
Alex Ross.
definitely something that would look awesome hanging on your wall.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we got Kevin coming up next.
All right.
Oh, nice ones.
Thank you. All right, so I had to do with the Jungle Action featuring Black Panther number 19, where he goes up against the Klan. It's just such like one of my favorite stories about the character. Or these, I don't remember who the editor in chief was, but they were like, "We need more white people in the comic," and so the writer was like, "Okay," and so he proceeds to put in a bunch of Klan members.
Oh, that was Jack Kirby.
Actually, no, that's not true. That's not true.
No, it wasn't.
Tell me the story.
That was debunked. That was debunked.
Was it?
It was
Oh, was
it was
it?
debunked. Yeah, it's not Jack Kirby,
wrong.
but the situation is the same. It's just with different people.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
they said put more white people in it, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to put the Klan in and have them beat the shit out of the Klan." So, but it just wasn't
Like-
Jack Kirby that did it.
That's such a.
I'm gonna do
great
more
story,
research on this
though.
now.
Yeah, do it. It was actually
Oh my
on. It was actually on Comic Character of the Day, I believe.
Huh.
Okay.
That I think it was. I know I saw
This
it
is what I
somewhere.
get from not paying attention.
Yeah, it's kind of an urban legend thing because Jack Kirby was the one that created Black Panther.
Yeah, right.
But I think it was
And-
Gene Colan that was drawing him at that point.
And I gotta say, I'm kind of a slacker. I probably should, but the middle one is just such a beautiful, like simplistic drawing. But but I don't know what issue that is, which is why I'm saying I should have. I should have.
That was a number
down.
1 variant from the coach run.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, so it's so beautiful. I just love that. It's kind of just like, I don't know, watercolor kind of ink. It's just beautiful cover. I think that's gorgeous. I would love that one. And Black Panther number 1, another variant. It just with a picture of Wakanda in the background, and he's stalking through the jungle with a spear. It's just very African feeling, very like iconic Black Panther cover to me, and all three of these are just so gorgeous, and I love them, and perfect for me. But that being said, Jamie, what do you have going on for the covers?
Oh, I have one of the same with Sal,
Oh,
surprisingly. But
Nice.
my
Yep.
first one, I have Black Panther number 46. This is from Priest Run. For some reason, I can't not stop looking at that cover. Like, it just makes me, like,
It's
in a
fantastic.
sense, to me, I feel a Spawn presence there.
Mhm.
Don't ask
Mhm.
me why, but I do. But it just looks so like beautiful.
It's the collar.
Yeah, it's got to be the collar. And then number 2 is Black Panther number 21, the Namor and Black Panther fight.
Mhm.
I think it's probably one of the most iconic covers you're gonna find. And lastly, I have issue 517 of Black Panther, the Man Without Fear, when he took over for Daredevil,
Mhm.
and he's fighting Luke Cage. This cover is just astonishing in its own right.
It is.
Like,
That is
I just
beautiful.
so that is our covers. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are still listening and watching, all these covers come with great stories told inside of them, and we are going to
Yes.
get into that, starting with some recommended reading from Kevin.
All right. So the problem I have with the recommended reading is I can't really describe them very well because of the fact that, once again, going into Black Panther, there are a lot more complicated, convoluted stories than a lot of the other comic book characters. So, A Nation Under Our Feet gets into politics, which is, like I said, one of my favorite aspects of Black Panther. It's going on about how there is a terrorist group called the People that go up against Wakanda, and their logic is we want a more democratic government than the kingdom, and the king makes all the decisions. So, yes, they're the bad guys, but you can kind of see the logic in their arguments. Number 2 is Enemy of the State 2, which I believe Sal was mentioning about how he's going up against Iron Man. And it's an alternate reality Iron Man. He's an evil Iron Man, but it's still Iron Man. And Black Panther goes up against him and hands Iron Man his hinder, stops his heart, where the real Iron Man is there and is like creeped out about how quickly, easily, viciously, and effectively Black Panther can take him out if he makes the decision to do so. Of course, Black Panther, I don't want to diminish the character by saying he's the Batman of Marvel, but he's like, says such a Batman line, which is, yeah, I have contingency plans to take out everybody in case that need arises, which scary as hell, which is awesome. And Enemy of the State 1, once again, just gets into politics. It gets into how he's a lot more closely related to characters like Doctor Doom or Namor, in as far as like he has the responsibilities that are a lot more than most characters. Because, like, Captain America, Spider-Man, whatever, they're like, I can, superhero as much as I want and do what's I consider the right thing. Whereas whereas T'Challa is like, I can, but I have a lot more responsibility than that. And it's just a lot more of the specifics as to his existence and day to day and on the politics of his existence. And it's just such an amazing story. Once again, I can't really do justice to the descriptions of these because all of the ones on my list, there's a lot of there's a lot of different storylines and a lot going on in all of these. So I'm sorry if my descriptions are lacking, but if you read them, you'll realize why I have to gloss over the vast majority of the storyline in order, for the sake of brevity here.
Yeah, and remember that these are all our opinions where we think maybe you should start and read. So take that with a grain of salt. Jumping into these, exactly.
What the?
Yeah,
He's pouring
Time-
Kool-Aid.
yeah.
time for a
Kevin's
drink.
pouring
It's
Kool-Aid
not like
in the middle of the
Tom
show
Hanks
for
in his own.
no
I-
reason.
Leave their own.
It wasn't me. That wasn't
Okay, we got it. Just we're gonna move on, and we're gonna move on to Dan now.
Move on. Move along. Nothing to see here.
All right, so
For future
I've got,
references, Kevin, you can mute yourself.
That's true. I should do that. My
yeah,
bad.
you should. So I've got,
Sorry.
I'll start Enemy of the State from
Yep.
Black Panther Volume 3, number 9 through 12. Kevin kind of already went over it some, so I'm not going to go over that again. But and you really kind of got to, when you read that, you can also read Enemy of the State 2, which was from the same book, just like 10 or 20 issues later.
Right.
But yeah, since he already went into it, I'm not going to go into it again. I got See Wakanda Die, which is from Black Panther Volume 4, 30. It's issues 39 through 41. It's the last 3 issues of it, and I talked about that one before. It's part of the Secret Invasion storyline when the Skrulls come down and they think that they're going to have this easy time taking over this little country, Wakanda, and and then when they fly in and they see the heads of all their sleeper agents on pikes outside of the royal palace, and they realize maybe it's not going to be as easy a job as they thought. And it's just 3 issues of just showing how badass Black Panther is, how good he is at strategy, and when you think you've got him beat, it turns out he just flips the tables on you.
Right.
And a lot of it is, there's kind of told from the point of view of the Skrull commander, and it's told kind of like a military story too. Just really fantastic. And then The Client, which is Black Panther Volume 3. It's the first 5 issues. It's when they had launched the book, Christopher Priest was the writer, Mark Teixeira was the artist, and the book introduced a lot of stuff, a lot of new characters that were ended up used in the Black Panther movie and in other stuff in the MCU, and that have since then become major parts of the Black Panther's world. And it's a story where he leaves Wakanda and he comes to New York because there's not really the Wakandan embassy, but it's a like a charity that he helped set up there, and this girl that was kind of a poster child for it, that he had taken pictures with himself, turns up dead, and he feels like he needs to be the one to solve her murder, and he comes to New York to figure that out. And then while he's doing that, it turns out he was lured there, and all the people that did it start trying to have a coup in Wakanda, and it just sets the stage for all these stories that follow in the book after that, like Enemy of the State 2, and all that. So just a really good read and a really good introduction to the character and the characters that are kind of in his sphere.
All right, Sal, we got you next, buddy.
All right. So I'll quickly go over the second one here. Black Panther, Enemy of the State 1 and 2. Definitely got to read those. Those were epic stories. So based on what you guys have said, I can't add anything to that. So I'll skip on right into my other ones. I have Bride of the Panther. This is Black Panther number 14 through 18 in 2005. This is the whole story with Storm, getting married with Storm. This was a great storyline, and a definite read. What's that?
That was 17 years ago. My God, it doesn't seem that long.
I know.
Jeez.
So the last one I have is Killmonger's Rage, which kind of sets up him. I think really you could really see the um, how am I going to say this? Like this is the antithesis of Black Panther with Killmonger. So it sets up the epic battle between the two of them. So I feel like this is a definite read to see why Black Panther is, a very in-depth character and why he's out to do what he wants to do.
Right.
That type of situation. So, yep, those are my three.
Great.
Jamie, what do you got?
All right, as usual, I'm different from everybody. So
Of course, you are.
the
Thank
first
God.
one I want to talk about is the one shot from Keegan Black Panther.
Us. That's good.
This is probably, if you're looking into just trying out Black Panther, I would dive into this. You don't really need too much context going in. It explains it to you what's going on in the tie-in. But this shows who T'Challa is. From how he fights, he's not watered down at all. His intelligence is through the roof. He's prepped. He's ready. He knows what he's going up against. So if you want a prime deep dive into a single issue where you just have to go and get one, this is the one I would pick to start off with.
Nice
Next
choice.
up, I have The Death of the Black Panther. This kind of, to me, is for those that have seen the MCU movies, where he's gone and come back. If you're into the MCU, mythos in that regards, this is a great starting point, I believe, for you, where, we lose T'Challa and then we move on to somebody else, where they're kind of doing right now with the new movie coming out here in the next few days. Or if you're seeing this, it's probably going to be only like 2 days. Lastly, I can't go without saying it, The Man Without Fear. I think that this is what I was speaking about earlier, where he doesn't have a moral dilemma or something on his conscience. This is the story you need to jump into. Basically, with Matt Murdock no longer being Daredevil, T'Challa takes the reins, doesn't have any powers, doesn't have anything. He's just learning who he is by himself for the first time again.
That's awesome.
So those would be my three to jump into.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very
A lot
good.
of good stories there.
Yeah.
All right. And
Awesome.
with those stories, we also come with great writers and great artists. So, Dan, who in your mind portrays T'Challa, Black Panther the best for you?
For me, for the writer, I've got to go with Christopher Priest. As you saw in a lot of our recommended readings, a lot of them came from Black Panther Volume 3. And it just, I feel like he's the one that hits the character on all the notes for the powers, his intelligence, dealing a lot of stuff with Wakanda, a lot of interesting storylines. He's got the new characters he introduced, which have become a major part of of the Black Panther's life. A lot of badass stories. Just really good, classic stories all the way around. And for artists, honestly, the one thing that I think the Black Panther has lacked for a while is like a really great artist on his books, like a really great artist to go on there and kind of put his stamp on doing a long run on there. So for me, I would have to say George Perez, when he would draw him in Avengers, even though, as we kind of all talked about, the Panther character doesn't work as well the way they've done him in Avengers, but just the art has been pretty fantastic. But I'm not a big fan of a lot of the arts from his solo book. So I think that's hopefully something that they will, that they'll fix going forward.
All right.
Yeah.
Kevin, who do you got for us, bud?
I want to argue at length with Dan, but honestly, Christopher Priest is, I think, the best writer that he's had pretty much ever. Love it. Everything that dude does, like, he knows the character inside and out, backwards and forwards, and the way he writes on this is just kind of perfect. And my artist, I got to go with Reginald Houlihan. He's
If you can't say his name, he doesn't exist.
Hoodlin. Reginald Hoodlin. The dude is actually a Hollywood director, and he loves the character so much that when he's not directing movies, he's drawing Black Panther. I mean, that shows how important that character is to him, and to all of us. And I think that's great that he's so passionate about the project that he's like, yeah, I make probably a lot more, but I care about the character so much that I still want to have work on him when I'm not doing anything else. I mean, that's so cool for me. What about you there, Sal?
All right. For me, well, gotta duplicate you guys. I'm gonna go with Christopher Priest for writing.
Right.
He does it so well. But some of the things I want to point out with Christopher Priest is he was the first African American editor in the mainstream comics, and then he became the assistant editor for Larry Hama on the Conan titles. So he's done a lot. I think his debut was he was a writer for the 1983 Falcon miniseries, which is also awesome too. And then he was made full editor of the Spider-Man comic book from 85 to 86, I believe. Wow. So he's done a lot, and I think
he's also working on Black Adam right now.
Correct. Correct.
Awesome.
So for artists, I go. George Perez is also a good pick, but I went with Jack Kirby. I just the simplicity of the design. How it's been mentioned before, and I think it was Dan that said the simplicity of his costume makes it stand out. It's almost like similar to the black suited Spider-Man. It was so simplistic that was just completely awesome. So I think Jack Kirby drew that simplistic but yet awesome the best.
I personally like the gold ornaments on the costume. I think that
the accessories
brings it out a lot. Yeah, exactly. I always thought that was really cool looking on the black.
Well, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where he did that himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Jamie, what you got?
So for writer, I have Tani.
He's more.
You broke up there. Who?
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Oh, okay.
He is one of the more modern styled writers for Black Panther. He's had a couple series where they've been canceled before they even were released. So he's been fighting to write him the entire time.
Wow.
So I got to give him credit where credit's due. He knocked it out of the park with his series.
Great.
So for my artist, it actually goes with Priest. It is Sal Velluto. He did most of the work for Priest during his run. And that is the standout Black Panther when I see Black Panther.
Yeah,
every time.
see that.
That's very good. Hey, your audio changed there for a bit. Did you switch anything, Jamie? Because your audio kind of changed a little bit.
No,
Yes,
I think
we're.
Oh, maybe. I was playing with the cord. It might have dipped. No one can see what I'm doing, but I'm usually playing with the cords. But no, guys, I think that basically covers everything Black Panther. So, guys, make sure you guys go get your tickets to go see the new Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I got mine.
Absolutely.
I think the other guys are going here soon, too. Go check it out. It's going to be a good one. But as always, thank you guys for viewing. With me, as always, we have Sal.
Hey, guys, you can find me on Sal's Comic Corner on YouTube and the Slab Guy 77 on Instagram.
All right, we got Dan with his art.
Yep, you can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. You can search hashtag Dan Kelly Art. I post a few times a week. I just started this because we did this Black Panther episode. Just started this Black Panther sketch last week, so I'll add a little bit more to it and post it at some point next week. So go check it out.
Cool. All right, we got the man who started all this nonsense, Kevin.
Hey guys, my name is Kevin. I created a group over on Facebook called Comic Character Today, where we go over a comic character, a comic cover, a question, anything funny, and news, and anything relevant to comic books. We'd love to have you come and check us out and join up, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Come on up. And Jamie, tell us what you got going on here, my man.
Nothing. Thanks for viewing and thanks for tuning. No,
All right. Peace.
no, but guys, if you haven't had the chance yet to, now that the episode's on the end, go check out Heroes Corner Comics. Guys, I'm telling you, they have everything you want for comics, from slabs, back issues, current issues, set up a pull list, and variants and more. And if you use the word codex, CODEX, at checkout, you're going to save 20% store wide. Go do
Wait.
that.
How much?
20%.
20%. What a deal. You'd be a fool not to take advantage of this. Do it.
Yes, and while you're doing that, go check out the codexstation.com, your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, talk to us, let us know what you like, don't like. Leave some comments down below too, guys. Let us know what you want for the next comic character. We'll take it into consideration. Kevin might say no. But guys, as always, be kind to one another out there. You never know what anyone's going through, and even a smile can change the course of someone's day or life. So always be kind. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Much love. Peace.